Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Bubblegum Reviews. My name is Steve, and tonight's review will be for Virtuosity with Denzel Washington, William Fichtner, William Forsythe, and Russell Crowe. So this is a first time watch for me. I'm a huge Denzel fan, and plus, Russell Crowe. The four that I named for this cast is actually a pretty good movie. So we have Parker Barnes as Denzel Washington, who just went to prison for murdering his wife's killer. And in the science lab over yonder, they're doing a little uh, building of somebody, and one of the guys decides to mess with it, and out comes Sid 6.7, who happens to be Russell Crowe. Well, inside 200 of the personalities that are in this guy, one of them happens to be the man who murdered Parker Barnes' wife. And so they decide to go ahead and let Parker out to go ahead and hunt this man down. So, yeah. Anyways, so at first glance, I started watching this, and it starts off really slow. I was like, this is not my kind of film. There's a few things in it that are like, what in the world am I watching? I'd say 20, 25 minutes in, I started getting into this. This movie started really entertaining me. And I was like, wow, this is actually not bad. The ending totally let me down. Denzel Washington does a good job. Russell Crowe does a good job. But they are not right for this movie. They are not right at all. Like, you can just feel it by the way they're so out of place in this movie. They did a good job. They made it entertaining. This movie, it has a Demolition Man feel / Terminator 2 feel to it. Like, there's a scene in this where I literally felt like I watched Terminator 2, like the part where one of them is on the top of the flipped over truck, and the same scene in Terminator 2 where they're on the bridge and the one of the dude's in the chopper and the other one's driving the truck. That whole scene kind of reminded me of this. So as far as, like I said, Denzel, they didn't belong in this. So the casting, obviously, big miss in my opinion. The music, didn't really care for it. Like, there's a few songs that I was like, it's not bad. It totally fits for this movie, but overall, I just was like, it's not really my style. Uh, The writing I didn't care for very much, of course. Like, yeah, this movie is not my style at all. Like, I'm not really a fan of this kind of movie. Don't get me wrong, I do like futuristic stuff in a way, but this just wasn't it. I wasn't really digging this, but there was a good 45 minutes in this where I was actually really entertained. Like, I was like, wow, this is really good. Denzel's killing it in his acting. Russell Crowe and him are going at it. It was really getting me into it, but then the ending just fell off, and I was like, what? This was just, it's one of these movies, old roller coaster, just up and down and stuff. The little DJ episode or scene in this where Russell Crowe was, I guess, doing some DJing on these weird little boards, that was pretty cool. I was like, this was pretty cool. But yeah, other than that, the cinematography in this one was not very good. The CGI wasn't very good. This was just overall not a great film in my opinion. So let's go ahead and get down to director. We have Brett Leonard, who also did a movie called The Lawnmower Man. I've never seen it, but I did hear a lot of people that were like, oh wow, that's literally just like The Lawnmower Man. Well, the guy that directed it did this too, so of course he's going to have the same style. I do want to see that one, though. I think it's got Pierce Brosnan and Jeff Fahey. I know who both of them are. I believe they're actually both Irish actors, so hey yo. IMDb gave that a 5.6 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 32%. Dog Bones gave it a 1.5 out of 4. I gave it a 4 out of 10. Like I said, nothing special, but if there was a reason I could recommend this movie, I'd say because Denzel and Russell Crowe actually, even though they weren't right for the movie, they do a pretty good job. And that's pretty much about it. Like, other than that, there's not much I can really persuade you towards watching it. Box office of 37 million on a budget of 30, so it actually made 7 million. So hey ho, hey ho, that's better than losing. So interestingly enough, as the Terminator comment earlier, Paramount actually wanted Arnold Schwarzenegger for this movie. Go figure. I am actually glad that he didn't do this because, excuse me, I don't believe I've seen The Sixth Day, but I feel like that's kind of this style of movie, and that might have came after this. But either way, I wouldn't have mind seeing it with him because I feel like he would have been better suited for this movie than Denzel and Russell Crowe. And he would have been playing Parker Barnes, so Denzel's part. And also, the reason Denzel Washington actually took the role for this was because his son asked him to. Well, I believe his son must have been probably about 10 to 15 years of age at the time, because this is back in 95, and I think his son's in his 30s or 40s now, so yeah. But interestingly enough, that's, I mean, you do what you will, you do what you can for your kids, and I mean, I'm not saying it was a terrible movie, as I said, but it's definitely not my style. But yeah, that's all for tonight. You guys, up next, I actually have a Rob Zombie film coming up here, The Haunted World of El Superbeasto. So that'll be up next. So stay tuned for that. You guys have a good night. Check out my letterbox, like and subscribe, and check out my eBay movies that I got for sale. I got some good ones, guys. I got stuff like Speed Racer and stuff like that. But yeah, anyways, and like I said before, if you end up buying something, just tell me that you're a subscriber and I'll give you free shipping. All right, that's all for tonight. You guys have a good night.